Welcome to the 8th meeting of the Liquor Commission. When addressing the commission, please remember to state and spell your name clearly, to speak into the microphones, and to turn off your cell phones. We have some minutes to approve. May I have a motion, please?
Yes, Chair. Motion to approve the regular minutes of the 41st, 42nd, and 43rd meetings and the executive session minutes of the 41st and 42nd meeting as circulated.
Second. It's been moved and seconded to approve the regular minutes of the 41st, 42nd, and 43rd meetings and the executive session minutes of the 41st and 42nd meetings. Any nays or reservations? Seeing none, I also vote aye. The motion carries. Calling agenda item number 1, transfer application number 24-00614 from TDM Legacy Inc.
Good afternoon. For the record, Wayne Luke is attorney for the applicant. To my right is Anthony. His last name is spelled Huynh, and he said it's pronounced Wynn. He is the president. We have no changes to the investigator's report.
That's all right.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. This application has received 0 written protests, 0 letters of support. Applicant has met statutory requirements for the submission of this application.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to testify either for or against this application? Hearing none, Commissioners, any questions?
Motion to approve transfer application number 24-00614.
Second. It's been moved and seconded to approve application number 24-00614. Any nays or reservations? Seeing none, I also vote aye. The application is approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, calling application number. Oh, if there's anyone present who wishes to provide testimony on agenda items number 2 or through 20, you may do so now or wait until the agenda item is called. Calling agenda item number 2, applications number 25-00366-1 to 25-00366-35 Blackstone Security.
Good afternoon, Chair, members of the Commission, Freaking Shioka, authorized agent appearing on behalf of the applicant. The president, Ms. Jun Choi, was stuck in traffic. Un is spelled from here's reporter's benefit EU and middle name Ju JOO, last name Choi COHOI. She's stuck in traffic. We can proceed without her. I feel confident. We received a supervising investigator software report. I have no changes there too. Oh, excuse me, one correction. We do have the certificate of mailing for the certified mail, and we do have the zoning clearance from the Department of Planning and Permitting. And we have copies of that if you wish to see it.
How's the permanent license?
It's pending.
Getting close.
I don't know. Can't say.
We both look at each other like that. Okay.
When it's there, is there.
Questions?
So the patio, is that just gonna be for entertainment, or are you gonna have people sitting out there as well?
I believe they're gonna have people sitting out there, Commissioner. Just for your own information, on the bottom part of the page, where it's that patio, there will be planters there. There is a walkway, however, on the left-hand side.
Okay.
So it's kind of difficult to put up stanchions and block the, ingress and egress there. We will have dedicated employees there watching the situation. To the right, there's a partial wall there. But there's actually no traffic to the right anyway.
Okay. Main thing is where you aren't able to put stanchions, is just make sure we have somebody monitoring, so we have people passing out across wherever we're at. That's the main thing.
Agreed, yes, I totally agree with you.
I have no other questions. Motion to approve application number 25-00366-1 through 25-00366-35 inclusively.
Second. Been moved and seconded to approve applications number 25-00366-1 to 25-00366-35 inclusive. Any nays or reservations? Seeing none, I also vote aye. The application is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Calling agenda item number 3, application number 25-00387, Schools and Catering Vice Senator Blunt.
Mr. Chair and Commissioners, with respect to agenda item number 3, the applicant was not able to send anyone today. We will reschedule to next week's hearing, no action required of the commission.
Okay, thank you.
No sheet.
Calling agenda item number 4, applications number 25-00510-1 to 25-00510-5. Charming Events Hawaii. Hello.
Hi, Commissioners. My name is Brianna Kaui, BRIANNA KAUI. I'm the president of Charming Events Hawaii. And this is for our weekly night market that we have on Friday out in Kaka'ako.
How is that going?
Good, it's going really good. Nothing has changed. The space remains the same in the same location. We still have security guards and the layout, everything is the same.
Any incidents of the past?
Nope.
No questions.
Motion to approve applications number 25-00510-1 through 25-00510-5 inclusively.
It's been moved and seconded to approve applications number 25-00510-1 to 25-00510-5 inclusive. Any nays or reservations? Seeing none, I also vote aye. The application is approved.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Calling agenda item number 5, application number 25-00528 from Ho'ola Na Pua.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Andrew Aguirre, Aguirre.
Wanna walk us through your event?
Yeah, so this is our annual fundraising event, much like a gala event. It's at the LIQ Cultural Institute in Kolomina. It'll be on September 21st, Saturday from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. And it's our one large fundraising event for the year where we invite our community, stakeholders, and other supporters to come together to help us prevent sex trafficking and sexual exploitation of youth.
Any changes from previous events?
No changes in previous events other than it's outdoors.
Your prior events, have they been held at this location as well, or is this a new time at this location?
This is the first time at this location. We've held them at the Four Seasons right next door. So
Okay,
that's probably why it feels similar.
so I guess the question that I would ask then is if any of your guests do happen to overconsume, are they gonna be able to leave their cars parked somewhere in that area or somewhere around there where they will be able to take an Uber or a
So
ride share home?
we do have an overflow lot plus the 200 stalls in the Lanikuhanoa Cultural Institute, and many of our guests are going to be staying at the Four Seasons Hotel, so they will have that opportunity, but towing fees may apply after a certain amount of hours,
Okay,
more than 24.
or they won't be towed for 24 hours.
It's up to the landlord on how they would proceed on that one.
So it's not going to change my opinion on whether to approve or not approve this. If you can talk with the landlord, just in case they could at least allow them the 24-hour period.
Absolutely.
And then, just give us an update or give our administration an update.
Sounds great.
Don't want to deter them parking there
Yeah.
or the worst alternative.
Yeah, that for sure. All right, I have no other questions. Motion to approve application number 25-00528.
Second. Been moved and seconded to approve application number 25-00528. Any nays or reservations? Seeing none, I also vote aye. The application is approved. Thank you.
Commissioners, thank you.
Calling agenda item number 6, application number 25-00538, HSI Honolulu Venture Company.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. Mr. Rai, Robert Uyoka on behalf of HMS Hosts. Present to my right, Mr. Christopher Kadohiro, he is the Senior Director of Operations. At this time, we'd like to request an amendment. The current catering application says 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. We'd like to add an hour on the front end and an hour on the back end. So to amend to 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. And this is due to scheduling changes in the flights, arrivals, and departure times. So it's a recent change. I just learned of it. So we want to add 1 hour on the front end and 1 hour on the back end.
I believe we need a motion to amend the agenda.
Yes, and since there are four, you're able to do that.
So my motion will be. Oh, hold on. Second, motion is gonna be for application number 25-00538 to amend the agenda to reflect starting time will be 10 a.m. and ending time will be 11 p.m.
It's been moved and seconded to amend our agenda of application number 25-00538 for a starting time of 10 a.m. with a closing time of 11 p.m. Any nays or reservations? Seeing none, I also vote aye. The amended agenda item is approved.
Thank you so much. This is for a catering application for the existing temporary bar. I'm located in the Mapco concourse. It's mainly the Hawaiian Air mainland flights fly there. So we'd like to have that extended, please.
Motion to approve application number 25-00538.
Second. Been moved and seconded to approve application number 25-00538. Any nays or reservations? Seeing none, I also vote aye. The application is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Calling agenda item number 7, application number 25-00543, Hobo Enterprises LLC.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the commission, Robert Uyoka on behalf of the ILS Chop House, present to my right, Mr. Ho Suk Lee, he is the member. At this time, we'd like to request an amendment to the start and end times. We do request to amend it from 6 a.m., which is the same, to 2 a.m. the next day. Then also to, on the last day, 11:59 p.m. on September 30th, 2025. This is consistent with the investigator's report that states these times.
No, wait, I have to read through this.
But just the front date where it says date time. If we could amend it to those times, 6 a.m. to 2 a.m. the next day,
I see.
except for the last day.
Okay.
Okay, so my motion is going to be for agenda item number 7, application number 25-00543 to amend the starting time on September 30th, 2025 from 6 a.m. to be open from 6 a.m. and close at 2 a.m., correct? The next day, and then on September 30th, 2025, ending time would be 11:59 p.m.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to amend our agenda as stated. Any nays or reservations? Seeing none, I also vote aye. The amendment is approved. Okay,
Thank you so much. For a catering application for Eve Ala. It's in the old vintage cave club under Cherokee. I've never been there.
oh, the
Maybe
really
some-
dark one?
Maybe some of you have been there, but I'm not privileged enough to have ever gone there. I've heard stories though. So this is for an application that's pending. We filed in August of this year. So there's a catering application based on an existing restaurant license to allow service of alcohol. While our underlying application is pending.
Yeah, oh, that's great. It's good to hear that space will get used.
Motion to approve application number 25-00543.
It's been moved and seconded to approve application number 25-00543. Any nays or reservations? Seeing none, I also vote aye. The application is approved.
Thank you so much.
Calling agenda item number 8, application number 24-01433, Sun and Ju Inc.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Min Young-woo on behalf of Sun and Ju Inc. On my right is the President, Su Yoon-hee Kim. And no corrections to the investigative report.
It's just a purchase of the.
Stop.
Motion to approve application number 24-01433.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve application number 24-01433. Any nays or reservations? Seeing none, I also vote aye. The application is approved. Thank you. Goodbye. Calling agenda item number 9, application number 24-00281 Woodbridge Inc.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Naomi Cole on behalf of Woodbridge Inc. Present to my right is one of the owners, Mr. Woodbridge Brown. As for the investigative report on page 2, where it says other liquor license interests, just to let you know that we did pick up our other liquor license for the first vote after the date of this investigative report. So this will be our second vote with the second liquor license.
As the first vote, Pauline.
It's good. We haven't served anything or any of that yet. We just got it we just really started it, so we
Okay.
haven't moved forward with that yet.
The only question I had is looking at the stuff, it says right that your folks are gonna be picking up people at Waikiki, correct?
Yes, on
So-
Waikiki Beach.
On Waikiki Beach. So when they're done, you'll be dropping them off at the same place?
Yes.
That you picked them up at. Okay. Okay. All right, that was the only question I had. Motion to approve application number 24-00281.
Second. Been moved and seconded to approve application number 24-00281. Any nays or reservations? Seeing none, I also vote aye. The application is approved.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, look.
Calling agenda item number 10, request number 23-00818, Kaka'aka Wine LLC.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Alex Granger, I'm manager of Kaka'aka Wine LLC. I'm here to rectify a couple of mistakes we made in our application to change a member manager of the company. Like me to run through the background?
Sure.
Yeah.
During COVID, we applied to change a member manager. We made the application by the mail. Didn't hear anything for 6 months. I called the office here. They told me that they didn't have the application, either it never made it or it got lost. We reapplied. The first mistake we made is that in the initial application, we had the original documents. We didn't have copies, so we had to re-sign the sales and purchase agreement. We didn't really remember the dates, so when we put it in the second agreement, we had different dates. My understanding is that the Liquor Commission then found the first application and there were misleading dates. And because of that, the dates were in excess of the 30-day notice period that we were supposed to give you guys for a change in member manager. The second mistake that was brought to our attention is that our filing on the DCCA was not done on the correct date. We have since re-amended the DCCA. I have copies of the correct DCCA dates here. So we did that in the last week since we got your notice. So apologies for the mix-up in the dates and for the duplicate applications. The reality is, we did miss the 30-day deadline and we did do a DCCA omission. We fixed those and asked for your apologies.
Kind of glad you got it fixed.
Yeah.
I'm glad our.
Series of missteps.
No, exactly. And it's all started during COVID when all sorts of things were happening.
So I think the main thing for us is to make sure that everybody that's currently there is correct, and then make sure that your paperwork for you that you have for the TCC is provided to administration whenever you can get it to us beyond that, because that way we have everything correct within our system.
Exactly. And I spent a few minutes with the staff over there to get the purple cards for the new member manager and all the online things. So we're working through that.
That's good. All right. I have no other questions.
I'm a big fan of the service.
Thank you. That's been going well, so I appreciate it. Are you guys approving the change of member manager here, or is that done separately? I wasn't quite sure. It was a bit, or has it been approved and this was just about the mistakes? Or?
So basically what will happen, right, is this is an investigative report that we are able to look at and review and approve the facts of your changes. Now, there is, based on the fact that there was late notice and things like that, there could be an adjudication for that, that you'll receive notice from, council, I believe, on that.
But the waiver of you being outside the time frame is what we'll approve.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Okay, so my motion is going to be to approve request number 23-00818.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve request number 23-00818. Any nays or reservations? Seeing none, I also vote aye. The agenda item is approved.
Thank you. Thank you.
Calling agenda item number 11, request number 24-01066, LP Butterfly LLC. Okay, we'll skip that for now, and maybe they'll show up. Calling agenda item number 12, request number 25-01585, Lotus Spirits LLC.
Good evening, Commissioners. Lotus Spirits LLC. On my right is Roberto Viernes, Roberto Viernes. I'm Randall Kuba, Kuba, Randall Kuba. We're requesting approval for the outside warehouse. We made adjustments to some of the questions that came up on the last hearing.
Can you review the adjustments that you made?
What was that? I'm sorry.
Oh, can you review the adjustments that you made and that you're presenting as changes here?
Yeah, the issues, yeah.
Okay, first one was the licensee Lotus Spirits LLC will only be delivering product to the warehouse if at all. So we adjusted the agreement to show that any product will rest at the warehouse for minimum 48 hours prior to being any deliveries from the warehouse to any licensees. So we changed that portion. The Warehouse Solutions LLC will be responsible for handling and the storage of the liquor, not the licensee. We added a clause in the revised agreement that when we spoke to Daniel regarding this particular clause, the concern was that the Warehouse Solutions would actually take property of the liquor and they are not a licensee. So in the new agreement, we put in an explicit statement saying that Warehouse Solutions will not take custody or property of any of the liquor that we store in the warehouse. The next two issues, goods stored within the warehouse may be moved with sufficient notice by the warehouse to any other facility that the Warehouse Solutions LLC owns, which are not licensed premises. We struck that clause from the new agreement, so that is no longer in the agreement. The next clause as well, Warehouse Solutions LLC under agreement can request for goods to be removed by the client, and if not removed by the end of the notice period, can sell the goods in accordance to applicable law. We've also struck that as well, so they will no longer be able to do that in terms of their lien on our product. So they will not be able to sell or do anything with the product in case we default on our payments. And the last one, Warehouse Solutions under the agreement and given a reasonable time is responsible for the delivery or transfer of goods following complete and written instructions. Again, with the clause of saying that Warehouse Solutions will not take any custody or possession of the actual goods. The clause of transferring of goods is also struck from the new agreement.
Mr. Sato, do you wanna? Provide any background for this, please?
Hi, Supervising Investigator Daniel Saka. So we did receive a revised agreement from Lotus Spirits on Monday. I guess they did address those issues in the initial part. But upon the revised agreement, there was other issues that are now different. So I'm not sure if you guys received the supplemental report. Those issues that are stipulated in there kind of raises different kinds of issues as far as the liquor laws and rules. I can go over it if you need me to.
Could you please? Okay, thank you.
So in the beginning of the warehouse agreement, the second draft, in short, Warehouse Solutions has the right to deny the licensee's inventory for being stored at the warehouse. It's in the second agreement, so it kind of raises issues as to the actual warehouse people could deny their inventory from being stored there.
Yeah, it's fun. Why don't we go through everything once and then we can switch back?
The second part is the shipments to and from the warehouse. The Warehouse Solutions would provide and maintain a monthly inventory status and movement reports directly to the licensee. It further states that Warehouse Solutions will not be responsible for any federal or state reporting requirements that may be required from the licensee, which at the outside warehouse, it is a stipulation under our rules that you have records of what you have present there. Next one is the delivery requirements. No goods shall be delivered unless it's received by Warehouse Solutions as being the common carrier or the designated rep to deliver their inventory. So in a sense where the licensee would have to give them an invoice and it's up to Warehouse Solution at their discretion, whatever the case may be, to deliver it to another licensee into, delivering the items. So it further stated that whenever the goods are not delivered, they may give notice back to the licensee via certified mail. And it also, there is clauses where if there's any loss for goods of inventory shortage or unexplained or mysterious disappearance of goods, the licensee has to address it and prove to Warehouse Solutions that it was their fault for their own inventory. And that goes the same as far as that part where the licensee has to also establish by affirmative evidence that Warehouse Solutions is using it for their own personal usage, which they're talking about the liquor. So there's a lot of those issues and on top of the fact that the delivery of liquor should be the licensee. Because when we're talking about a wholesaler, they have to exercise complete control over their inventory because they have a different set of reporting requirements. Additionally, not only to us, but the State Department of Taxation. So it's all in the supplemental.
Thank you. Commissioners, questions?
I want to ask Daniel, so a question I have is some of these extra issues that are these issues that came on this, was this different in the agreement that was previously?
These are new issues.
These were new things that came out of this, the new one that was redone to address the other ones. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I had for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have. Okay.
Okay, but no, please go ahead.
Um, uh, so, thank you, Daniel. Appreciate all the information. I really do. So we just received the secondary investigation, notes. But for section 1 on acceptance, the clause in there was only to, on Warehouse Solutions behalf, that if they were overloaded in terms of safety and, for fire requirements, that they're not forced to take inventory of ours. It wasn't because of any other, like, we're not dealing in hazardous materials or anything like that. It was just if there are any safety issues because of overloading and or over inventories in their space, then they wouldn't be required, by us to actually take the inventory. So it wasn't, the other part about being potentially not in the warehouse. I'd also like to point out that we also do already have another warehouse that we are warehousing currently that we would be able to still store that our goods in. So it wouldn't be, just not have a home, basically. Yeah. So we are licensed and we have our warehouse currently for section 1. Section 2, for shipments to and from warehouse, there is a clause in the agreement where Warehouse Solutions does clearly say Warehouse Solutions will provide and maintain monthly inventory status and movement reports as well. I think perhaps we need to clarify that and also say maintain in the location, perhaps adding that to as a in the verbiage. Would that clear the that part about maintaining the records?
There's that specific clause, will not be responsible for any federal or state reporting requirements.
Okay. I think that was because we are responsible for it as the licensee, that they are making sure that we are responsible for it, that they're not taking responsibility for that portion. We realize that it is, on our behalf, and it's our onus and our responsibility to take care of that. I guess my question was more about the location of the actual records itself, because the records will be kept, obviously, for federal and state purposes. Warehouse Solutions, again, is just making sure that they put the onus on us, because it's our responsibility. So. The clause, next section for clause with mysterious disappearance. I think that's that portion is just to cover themselves in terms of any loss or shrinkage. Obviously, if we accuse them of something, we need to prove it. And in a perfect world, nothing goes missing, and things don't break, and maybe an employee is too ashamed to maybe they might lose their job or something and cover it up or something. But I believe this particular clause is to protect them from that type of situation. So I can address that, but I'm not sure. I guess my question would be, what is the best way to for Warehouse Solutions to be able to protect themselves in the case of a loss that we believe is their fault, but they're going to say that it's not their fault. So that's kind of the gray area that we're trying to explain in the agreement. Then lastly, okay, I think that's it. Just those 4 new issues that came about with the new revised agreement.
The commission may go into executive session for the following reasons: pursuant to Hawaii Revised Statute, section 92-4 and subsection 92-5A4. Consult with the board's attorney on questions and issues in a matter pertaining to the board's powers, duties, privileges, immunities, and liabilities, and relating to agenda item number sorry. 12, request number 24-01585. I'll entertain a motion to go into an executive session.
So moved.
Second. Been moved and seconded to go into executive session. And then on executive session. Okay, we're back from executive session where we were discussing the scope of the statutes surrounding warehousing. And so this is a much more unique model in that you don't just control the space that you're using for your warehousing purposes. And so it was not clear how the requirements as a licensee for control play out in this.
So after we're reviewing the your warehousing agreement and the changes, right, and the things that we've raised or discussed in our supplemental investigation, the concerns that we have, right, is we cannot seem to come to bear to view that this model that you're looking at using and the changes that you have in here, whether or not that meets the requirements that are there that we have to review. And we have to make sure you folks are going to have the control of the product and everything at all the time that other warehousing agreements provide. So what we're looking or determining is, are you going to be able to take time to address and correct the concerns or the issues that would rectify that ability to meet that statute with this model? And if you think you are, how much time do you want to do that? Because at this time, me personally, I'm not inclined to approve this type of model with those constraints or non-abilities to meet that specific statute.
The lack of controls.
So the lack of control over the product.
So like technically, if you were in a different type of licensing warehouse agreement, you'd be able to walk in, look at your product, be able to inventory what that product is, and you would then take it out and deliver it. Currently, the way we read through your agreement basically is they take it in, they hold it wherever. Now there's a specific space they're saying it's at, but you couldn't walk in and check it, find it, look at it. Second of all, they then are also going to deliver it for you, which then means if they say I delivered 3 bottles, but they only delivered 2, then it becomes, where is that bottle? Did it break? What happened to it? But you're going to have to request that from them. And they're going to send it to you via mail and all these other things. Beyond the fact of any type of federal or reporting, they want to keep themselves separate from that and hold you liable to do all of that. But you still couldn't go in to look and find it if you had to.
So yes, it doesn't, you're right, so it doesn't explicitly say in the agreement that we are able to go in to look at our own goods. So that part actually, in good faith, it is agreed that we are able to access our own inventory. In fact, there is a clause in which we didn't go over today, but it's in the pricing agreement that there is a charge for them that we are able to do our own inventory, to go in and do that as well. And we are also able to deliver our own goods as well. The intent was to be able to, so that because we're a small company and we're trying to grow, that we would be able to have a service to do that for us as we grow. And that's, but we would of course still be able to deliver our own goods and still inventory our own goods, and we have access to it 100%.
So for me, what I'm saying for me is for me to be open to looking to review, to make a decision, to be able to possibly approve something, we'd need to see the changes to reflect those restraints or abilities that you're saying there are in somewhere else.
Sure.
For us to be able to view that we could or couldn't do this, right? Yeah. Because technically, you look at the statute, we look at this doesn't meet what the requirement would be for the statute. Okay, and so we're open. I mean, I believe all of us here are open to wanting to help business and make business profitable, make you folks be able to run and even grow if you need to, but it needs to have these constraints and views. And if you tell us how long you want us to continue something to allow you to make that ability to make the requirements.
If I could interrupt, Mr. Vice Chair, because this is not a public hearing, you could continue to the next available give the requester the opportunity to work with licensing with both parts of the agreement, because apparently there's maybe a piece that was not, that's not been reviewed. And when they're ready, then we just put it back on the agenda, but it does not need to be a date certain for this type of request. You can continue to the next available, and however long it takes, which it might be a week or it might be longer, and we'll just bring it back when they're ready.
Yeah, because if you're working with the licensing group and
Yeah, Daniel's been
they're
very-
satisfied, we'll probably be satisfied.
Right.
Right? So-
Okay. Uh, one question regarding the part about, not having control with a third party delivering the goods. Is there already a model for that in licensing?
So
at this
that's,
point?
you know, the Instacart delivery aspect, I believe as statutory and approval to kind of go forward. And it's those kind of newer models that we need to ensure that, you know, this is kind of a different flavor of that at the wholesaling level, and that's why we're very hesitant.
Good. Sorry, follow-up question then for that. In terms of when a distributor, a licensee is transferring goods between counties, so like when it goes on Young Brothers or anything like that, who assumes the property at that point? Because it's going in between licensees and even between counties. So like, how is the control maintained by the licensee at that point?
I don't know personally, so.
If you can work with us
Yeah.
offline and
Yeah.
not put them on the
Yeah.
spot.
Okay, sorry, I wasn't.
Yeah, yeah, no.
I was just
trying to
get some
Yeah,
clarification,
yeah.
just because.
Yeah, we can talk about the inter-county thing, but I don't want you to do it in this environment.
Understood.
Okay.
Okay. So who should I contact once we're ready to come back on the schedule? Daniel?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
So
All right.
we just need to make a
Continue.
motion to continue
To the next.
to the
available.
next available.
Second. Okay, it's been moved and seconded to move this, sorry, request number 24-01585.
2505.
2401-585.
Okay, so I go again. So my motion is going to be for application number 24-01585 to continue to the next available.
Second. Okay, it's moved and seconded to move request number 24-01585 to next available. Any nays or reservations? Seeing none. I also vote aye. The request is will be heard at a later time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very
Appreciate you
much.
working through that.
Yeah. Calling agenda item number 13, request number 24-02845. Volcano Skewer House LLC. So, yeah, no, that's okay. I see it.
Volcano Skewer House?
It should have been Nishioka, but.
Okay. Let's see, calling agenda item number 14, request number 25-00485, LP Hawaii. Hello.
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, and Commissioners. Robin Milch on behalf of the licensee requesting approval to renew its sticker license after the June 30 deadline. So the licensee was working on getting their tax clearance, which they have resolved, so they are able to now move forward with renewing its license.
Thank you. Do you happen to be aware of what was the holdup on the tax clearance?
They had that and other issues with respect to the insurance and everything, so I guess they had to come up with the monies to pay for the tax clearance, to obtain the tax clearance, and they're able to do that.
How has the restaurant handled serving liquor since the end of June?
They have it,
Okay,
yes.
confirm that. Okay, thank you.
I have more questions. Motion to approve request number 25-00485.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve request number 25-00485. Any nays or reservations? Seeing none, I also vote aye. The request is approved.
Thank you.
Okay, calling request number 25-00546 from Tiana Cafe and Karaoke LLC.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the commission, Keith Kiyuchi for the licensee. To my right is Ina Tran, who's manager member of the LLC. Anticipating the question, the issue was a tax clearance that came in on back taxes. And I just want to make sure I asked Ms. Harai, they were okay for 23-24, right? So there's just 24-25.
That's my understanding.
Yeah, okay. And she's gonna pick up the tax clearance tomorrow, bring it in, pick up the license.
There's been no serving since,
No,
okay,
unfortunately, but yeah, no.
appreciate that. Adherence to that. No questions?
Okay. Motion to approve request number 25-00546.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve request number 25-00546. Any nays or reservations? Seeing none, I also vote aye. The request is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Calling agenda item number 16, request number 25-00527 from Kenneth Hu Esquire. On behalf of seven.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Commissioner members. Kenneth, who are appearing for the applicant. This is a request to waive the rule which requires filing of a temporary application within 5 days after the previous license was canceled. The previous licensee failed to renew June 30th, 2024. So Zeton is taking over that space. Therefore, would like to file or obtain a temporary license. So hence this request for waiver.
Any questions?
So the only thing I was going to ask Mr. Hu is, does anyone know if the person that was previously in the location, even though I know it expired on June 30th, 2024, we've just went through 2 or 3 people who have asked to get their license after that point, right? For the next year, does anyone know whether or not the licensee that was in there previously has determined that they want to get their license and renew it late?
They no longer have a lease,
Okay,
so.
okay.
They're
Yeah,
gone.
That kind of
That's a good
answers my
question.
question.
That's a good
I just don't want to say, we'll say yes, right? And then you file and then next week, the guy comes in and says, hey, I want my license for over there. Yeah, so that's my main reason.
How long is the present business there? Spada, DBA, Kala, Hawaiian Food. How long have they been operating in the space?
You know, I don't have that information, but I think it was a little while. It wasn't like a very short period of time.
Yeah, I know.
That was
Yeah.
Child's place, right?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, if the DBA was Carlos Hawaiian Food.
I have no question. Okay, motion to approve request number 25-00527.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve request number 25-00527. Any nays or reservations? Seeing none, I also vote aye. The request is approved.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think we will call out of order. Agenda item number 18, liquor administrator. Proposed expedited license application and investigative report procedure. Oh, well, we can ask them for this.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Salpatilos, Administrator, Honolulu Liquor Commission. Just as a little bit of a background, I think everyone is well aware of the fact that the Liquor Commission is a backlog in terms of applications and requests. And at this point in time, on average, it takes about 300 days to process an application. That waiting period has resulted in applicants if statutorily able to use costly, non-permanent, time-limited licenses to bridge the gap between application and approval. In the data snapshots that I've seen over time, over my time here, I've noticed that there's typically a lag between outputs and approvals and inputs, application requests. Without change, that lag, I believe, will continue, and excessive processing times will persist. The agency has made some changes with regard to personnel. In June, we hired 2 contract employees to assist in addressing the backlog. And they're primarily focused on clearing requests, add remove principles, stock transfers, alteration premises, those kinds of applications. Additionally, HLC is looking to add additional resources towards addressing the backlog. The acting chief investigator has reached out to a former liquor control investigator to see whether or not they'd be willing to work in assisting that. I think that individual is willing to work on a part-time contract basis. Additionally, he's also been asking for assistance from other people in enforcement to see if they can handle the simpler cases that we have. That said, despite all that effort, I think to make significant changes to the numbers that we're seeing, we need to change some of the things that we do. And a couple of months ago, you charged management to try to come up with a way to address that backlog. So I think try to introduce a pilot program, if you wouldn't mind starting. An expedited licensing process. And again, next slide, please, though. And the reasoning behind this, as you know, is that backlog of about 300 applications and requests in queue, the lengthy processing times. And I put the statutory constraints on investigations simply because a couple of years ago, the legislature passed an amendment to 281, striking a couple of some statutory language that affected the way the Liquor Commission conducted its investigations. So the legislature struck language like whether or not, in the opinion of the investigator, the applicant is a fit and proper person to have a license. That's taken out, so that's no longer a question that needs to be pursued by investigators. And additionally, took out any and all matters and things that, in the opinion of the investigator, pertain to or affect the application or the issuance or the exercise of the license applied for. So several, shall we say, broad authority were taken away a couple of years ago.
I guess those were, that statutory language that would preclude and require investigation to preclude or allow a license to be approved. And so now we just don't have to look that hard at those areas. Okay.
Or it's a catch-all, then you would use that to hold it.
And the rules of the Liquor Commission have still not been amended since the statutory change to reflect?
They have not.
Yeah, okay.
So I think you're well aware of the statutory requirements pertaining to applications. You see them on an almost weekly basis, and so this is just a reiteration of the items that need to occur for an application to be approved. I think I'd like to focus next on the rules that we have. Doug, next slide, please. Oh, I'm sorry. The report by the investigator, and the report by the investigator, as you can see, and again, as you deal with normally, there are a certain number of things that need to be on that report: the premises descriptions, prior licenses held, church, chapels, or school within 500 feet of the premises, of the proposed premises, other premises of the same class in proximity to those premises, and all the way down to the possible adverse effects to the surrounding community that are required to be in the report. Next step. In terms of pertinent rule provisions, we have not, the Liquor Commission has not adopted any rules to eliminate preliminary hearings. I think just looking at what can be done, I think our rule, section 381-19-11 lists the power of the commission holding hearings, but does not specify the use of both a preliminary hearing and a public hearing. And I think it's statutorily, it just says that the commission may hold a preliminary hearing. Additionally, there's no rules specifying form or content of the investigative report. The section on report by investigation is reserved and has no content at this point in time. Further, Rule 383-53-1, license applications. I think it covers a number of pages, but generally speaking, the text of the rules contain no affirmative obligation to do more than confirm that the applicant has made basically that the submitted items meet listed requirements in the listed requirements in the application. So I think in terms of the pilot program, I think the important thing is that it meets all statutory and legal requirements, that it incorporates constraints on investigations imposed by the statutory changes enacted during the 2022 legislative session. I think it also recognizes that neither the code nor rules require nor authorize an interpretation of documents. It recognizes that the code and rules do not create an affirmative obligation to do more than confirm that the applicant has shown that documentary submissions meet the listed requirements. So essentially, the idea here is to narrow the scope of investigation so as to get the application to the commission before you, the sole decision-making body with regard to application in a more timely manner. Next slide. So I hate to say this, but I think in terms of report requirement, just to give you an idea of what we're thinking about, I think, item number 1, description of premises. Basically, the investigator would certain description, attach the map of the surrounding area for you to review. That's item number 2. If the application is made by a person who has a prior license, if it's applicable, the investigator lists all the prior licenses or indicates not applicable. And if applicable, a history of violations for the previous licenses held. Locality of church, chapel, or school. Once again, the investigator lists or indicates whether or not it's applicable. Number of position distance from the proposed premises of any other licensed premises of the same class. Again, investigator inserts the list, inserts a list and provides a description. Number of licenses of the same class or kind already issued and being lawfully exercised within Honolulu County, and that the investigator inserts the number of those licenses. 6, whether the applicant is for any reason disqualified by HRS Chapter 281 of the Rules of Liquor Commission from obtaining or exercising the license. The requirement addresses disqualification, so we believe it may just be limited to the question of the felony status. I think also it may not need an attachment because we typically do not attach criminal history background check materials to an investigative report. 6B, whether or not the applicant has complied with all the requirements of HRS 281 or the rules of the Liquor Commission relative to the making and filing of the application. I think the important part here to note is that this is where the investigator can say no and identify any disagreements with any of the information or documents provided by the applicant in satisfaction of HLC's requirements rule. And then I think it's one of those with the investigator's strict response, identifying the items without lengthy explanation. Like, for example, if an investigator says that the person isn't qualified the applicant is qualified for this license. Just say that, and have you look at the documents and decide whether or not that individual qualifies or that person qualifies or not. Next, Doug. Whether the applicant has been denied, refused, or withdrawn an application for a license in the same physical location with details. Again, the investigator inserts or indicates whether it's applicable. And then attachments, in terms of attachments, the applicant that must provide evidence of a substantial change in circumstances that cause a previous denial, refusal, or withdrawal. It's the applicant's obligation to provide, and investigators not get to make the evidentiary calls whether or not they met the requirement. Possible adverse effects the premises after licensing may have on the surrounding community, again, can probably be limited to noise impact evaluation. And then, attachment 8, that particular noise impact evaluation that was conducted for the proposed premises. Information is required by Rule 883-51. All the documents that you can have, the DCCA certificate of good standing, the photos of the frontage of licensed premises, and the premises proposed license and street location. All of those could just be attached, and that's something that you can review and make a decision on your own whether or not they comply with our requirements. And also, if there are any other information that needs to be attached, then the investigator attaches that. I think that the important part here, I think, is that it makes the investigation shallower, and that it requires the agency to provide you with the necessary documentation to decide whether or not an application should be approved.
Okay, that's a lot for us to take in. Thank you.
It's gonna be posted to the.
Yeah, look, we don't have to make a decision now. It's just, but some of the items that, right, like when I think of the items that came before us today, right? For the most part, people that want an application and it's a bar, it used to be a bar, they're used to running a bar, it should be a fast and quick process, right? And then there's sometimes the nuance of something like the warehouse where we really need a lot of the expertise of the investigators to help us kind of go through that piece. And I think this moves us in a better spot, right? To try to get the easy ones out quick, fast, and easy.
And if they raise issues like, for example, that warehouse, then you can say, hey, we'll continue the meeting until we handle that particular issue and move forward to approve or deny the application.
Sorry, but so just to be clear, the warehouse is, the outside warehouse is a permit. It's like basically a request.
Yeah.
It would not be subject.
No, I
to-
just
yeah.
meant like, there are instances
Right.
where we need this expertise and it's gonna take a while, but for something simple, maybe it should go simple and fast.
Yeah, that's where we gotta start to discern the types of applications that fall into those categories.
Yeah.
Specific swim lanes.
I mean, one of the other things that you talked about, right, is each application has to have a printout of the names of all the places that are within an area close to them, total number of the licenses that are of that type or class. A question I have with that is each time a license come up, is a report ran to get that? Or is there a specific set number? You know what I mean? Like, would it not be easier to have a report ran every day that gives a number of licenses in this type? So as an investigator does it, oh, that's a number, I'm putting that number in. This is an area, I'm going to run a report of whatever businesses are within that 500 space to be able to list it. You know what I mean? Versus each license running a report that they're waiting to get, you know what I mean? Versus some type of IT process to make it quicker in regards to that. Ways of us to look to see how we can assist getting those things.
Yeah,
set quicker, right?
The notice of like, registered voters and those types of things for the public hearing, those still need to occur, right?
Yes, those do need to, those have
Statutory requirement,
those.
I think, right?
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Sounds like an AI opportunity.
I didn't have, I mean, I'm gonna probably have to
I mean,
read through it a little bit.
Yeah,
before
no,
I-
we-
before
but we
I have,
wanted
I'm
to
not, I
kind of
don't,
bring this
I think
forward
it's
for
a
us
sea
to-
change in terms of how
Yeah.
we look at
Yeah.
the
Mhm.
application process and how the investigations are done. But the major impetus is to have, to see whether or not the technical requirements of the forms and stuff, like the names are correct, you know. Financials are submitted and stuff, and get that before you, if those meet, you know, if those are correct. And then you get to decide whether or not, to provide to approve the application. There may be instances where, you know, there are going to be instances, I think, where investigators say, no, this is not right. But that said, that issue is now before you, and you are the final arbiters of what is with regard to the application. And so you have the ability to decide whether or not you know, this particular applicant, you know, meets the requirements for, meets the requirements for being, say, a dispenser or whatever.
Yeah, and we also have the permitted interaction group to like really.
I was gonna say, seeing the pilot program and an idea will help us as we go through the process of reviewing the processes and workflow and procedures for that in regards to how the pig can work to help those areas. So.
Moving in the right direction. though. Thank you.
Are there any additional questions?
I don't have any for now.
Okay, so I'm gonna go, wait, we had one outstanding, was it a request or?
It was.
Two, I think.
Skewers, volcano skewers, was it skewers?
We will just reschedule.
Yeah.
We'll just reschedule, volcanoes, margaritas, and we'll just reschedule to the next available.
Okay,
Cinnabon would soon come, yeah, so she was
Just
gonna
do
move on, yeah.
all right. So now we'll switch back to agenda item number 17, discussion of processes and procedures. And I will, pursuant to Hawaii Revised Statute, section 92-4, subsection 92-4A, board to consult with its attorneys on questions or issues on a matter pertaining to the board's powers, duties, privileges, immunities, and liabilities as they pertain to the topics of this agenda item.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. We are in executive session.
just calm yourself down. Why is all of our stuff triggering this today?
Okay, we're back from executive session where we were discussing our policies and procedures for processing requests and complaints to the commission. Okay, calling agenda item number 19, administrative matters. Mr. Patilas.
Salpatilos, Administrator, Honolulu Liquor Commission. I thought I was done, but I'm not. So I think I just want to let you know that we are in the midst of budget prep. And also that, that we met as a management met as a group to discuss items that we want to make sure were in the budget. For example, making sure that the motor vehicles that we need to be replaced are encumbered. Make sure that the enhancement to LCIS2 occur. What's the amount? What's the amount that we need? Why is it different from last year? What's changed? So we're aware of what's going on. Also discuss the fact that we needed to be as accurate as possible with regard to the cost of the body-worn camera program. The difficulty with that is that it's looking forward, and it may be that we don't ask for it based on what happens with the pilot. But I think it's essential that if we do decide to go ahead after the pilot, that the funds be there to be able to ramp the program up quickly. Also making sure, trying to make sure that the employees got the COLA that they're supposed to get, and also in terms of the reorganization, making sure that we ask for the funds necessary to reallocate positions that we have from LCI 1 and 2s to LCI 3s as we try to create room for upward mobility. So I think, I know it's really boring, but it's really important that we identify all the things that we need as we go into budget and discuss our budget, not only with the managing director, the director of BFS, but also as we present to the city, to the council, that about our needs, and that we make sure that we don't shortchange ourselves in that regard. And I think I'll stop with that. But if there are any questions about operations, I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have.
My one I'm going to bother you on periodically is the data transfer from the old system to the new. Do we have a plan for that yet? Or is
The data transfer.
You don't have to, somebody answered behind you secretly.
Yes.
It's okay.
Or what I call the sandbox.
Doug gave it away.
Or what I call the sandbox is discussed often.
Commissioners, anything else? All right, agenda item number 20, announcements. Anything else?